and now we are connected with Ika Natassa herself. Hello, Ika.
Hi, hey guys, how are you?
There she is.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a lot of
For having
questions.
me.
All right, so first off, what are the inspirations behind your bestsellers? Because I just read them and I think I'm like out of breath because there's so many of them that became bestsellers.
Thank you, thank you. It's actually a question that I got asked a lot, and I'm still struggling to answer that because for a writer, everything that she feels, she touched, she experienced, and she sees and interacted with, that could be an inspiration. So for me, probably my everyday life and things that I see, things that I read, became my inspiration. And I also try to talk about some current issues that I'm concerned about in each and every one of my books. So probably that's the answer that I can give you.
Right. So Ika, this next question will be much more like more personal to me because I would like to tell my daughter that I have an interview with one of the best novelists here in Indonesia, and I would
Oh,
like
say
to.
hi to your daughter and your wife, man.
Right. So, I mean, my next question is, when did you start writing? How did you start it? I mean, it has been said that you finished your first novel when you were 19. So
Yes.
how did you start it?
Well, I actually started writing when I was just a little kid. So primary school, probably, I could say that. And what drove me into writing is I love reading first. So as soon as I could read, I fell in love with books. And we have lots of books at home. Like my parents bought me a lot, and I read novels, comics, all of that. And I find that kind of excitement every time I read. I mean, that's the only activity that you can do at home, but you can still feel and travel without even moving. So I feel stories as a magical experience, and I want to be that magician. I want to be that magician by being a writer. So I started writing like short stories when I was a little kid for no one at all but me. So I didn't show it to anyone. And then I started writing the English novel Underground when I was in high school. And then I started writing more novels as it goes along, and I start also working. But the writing really sticks with me. It is something just something that I enjoy doing.
Right.
Something you enjoy and very passionate about too, right?
Really? Right.
I
So, do you still remember what was your first writing that you say that you wrote it just for yourself? What?
it was it was a silly story about treasure hunt. Little
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
little kids have that kind of imagination, right?
yeah.
Right.
So this little girl like walked up the street and then found this big box, and then when she opened that, and there was like bars of gold in it, and she didn't know what to do with it. It's just those kind of stories. But as I grew up, the stories that really interest me is the thing that and the issues that revolves around everyday's life. Like when I first started writing A Very Happy Wedding, my first published novel. That was when I started my career at the bank. And I see that there are a lot of us that fell in love with our fellow workers.
Ah.
Yeah.
But policies back then was that you cannot have a relationship and you cannot marry
Yeah.
someone from the same company. And obviously, it brought some issues and conflicts for us personally, love-wise. So I thought that would be interesting, and I thought that is something that probably not a lot of people know of if they don't work in a bank. So I started writing that, and I sent it to Gramedia, my publisher. And within the first month of its release, it became a bestseller. I didn't know how that happened. I just thank God, and I just kept writing since then.
I see. So it all started from books about or writing about adventure, treasure hunt, and everything, and then and it becomes about love and everyday stories. Now,
Yeah, I know.
if we're talking about your novels, some of them have been adapted to movies. And actually, I have watched Tui Fortiare, I have watched Anthology of Feelings, and actually right now I'm watching Critical 11 because I just saw it on Netflix, but I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
me, don't tell me the ending yet.
Yeah, it just got released on Netflix yesterday, and it's already on the top 5. So I'm very thankful.
Yes, I'm almost done with that. But okay, so some might say, what do you feel? How do you feel about this adaptation? Are you, and your process into doing it too? Are you hands-on when they made the movie?
Yes, very. The first time that I got an offer for my books to be adapted into films, obviously I feel very excited.
Yeah.
And also flattered because not everybody got that chance. I mean, it means that somebody out there, these filmmakers, these wonderful filmmakers that fell in love with my stories and feel that the stories could be brought to life in big screen, you know. So, but there's also fear inside of me that I think of my books as my babies. I'm very scared that when I hand my babies to other people and they would treat it not in the way that I expected it to,
Yeah.
you know. So my way of dealing with it, and also I love the I mean the opportunity to learn. So with the producers that I work with, we built some kind of collaboration. So I work very closely in movies. In Critical 11, I co-wrote the screenplay also. And in other movies, I also supervise the screenplay and then have a daily conversation with the producers, directors, the actors, and the actresses. And it become our projects. It's not just a movie for me. For me, it's another form of my story to meet their moviegoers in this sense.
So it's not just your baby, but now it's like a whole team has this baby that they have to make sure it comes out perfectly.
It became our baby.
Yeah, exactly.
It is quite interesting, Yani and Ika, to hear this, the perspective of from Ika about it, because some writers sometimes, let's say, being quote unquote so quite stubborn when they want to they want to still get their perspective when it's come to movie or miniseries. So, Ika, maybe if you don't mind, you can spill us a bit about how's your recipe when you write a novel, for example, because you've mentioned about the story, about the issue and conflict, and that's my first question for this term. And then the next one is, when it comes to scenario or miniseries, you wrote it also by yourself, yeah? Wrote the screenplay for the miniseries Sementara Selamanya, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, so what is your recipe for doing that? I mean, it could be so different, right? When you write the novel and you write the miniseries.
It is. I mean, when I write a novel, I have total freedom. I have total freedom of where I'm going to take the story, where I'm going to set it, what kind of characters, how long the story would be, what kind of complication and plot lines and all that. And then I also have this kind of special agreement with my producer, with my publisher, that I would never have a deadline. Because for me, my first priority is my job at the bank, and as writing is just a sidelines that I do for fun. So with novels, I have that total freedom. But in movies, it's a little bit more complicated because it is a collaborative process. I have producers to work with, directors to work with, and then also we have budget limitation, and then settings limitation, duration limitation. You can only make like 90 minutes or 120 minutes of movies to be able to fit in the big screen. I mean, we're not into that type of Indian cinema where you could fit 3 hours into the cinema. Right? And then also, there's also a difference in terms of the way we approach those stories. I mean, I have my own idealism in what I put and what I didn't put. And then in movies, we have to put our heads together, you know. So for me, both experiences are enriching. as a writer. And then actually when you talk about Sementara Selama, it's actually an accidental project.
Really?
I mean, it's a very accidental project. I'm very close with Reza Radian. You know that I've been working with him a lot in Critical 11 and then 34 Tiare. And then during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, you know that all the shooting stopped because of protocol. And then Reza said to me that he felt bored, that he couldn't shoot anything. And I was teasing him, well, why don't you just shoot something at home? And then he came back teasing me and said, why don't you write something that I can shoot at home? So it was just a joke, but I kind of took that seriously. And I started writing this script called Sementara Selamanya. It's a mini-series, 6-episode mini-series, and I gave it to Reza about 2 weeks later. And he fell in love with it, and then we started doing that. And then it is very intimate project. We only have less than 20 crews, and then we have Bu Christine Hakim, and then Laura Basuki, and then Ruth Marini to join the cast, only 4 casts. And we actually shot it at Reza's own house. Very small project, very intimate project, but when we released it on OTT, the streaming platform, it was very well received. So I'm very happy that something that we did just for fun ended up touching a lot of hearts.
Yeah.
Something for fun, but it comes from brilliant people. So it resulted with a lot of fun for the audience.
Yeah,
right?
and
probably I'm very thankful for that, for the opportunity to collaborate with them.
So Ika mentioned that for 6 episodes, she finished the writing only in 2 weeks. That's amazing. But anyways, Ika, so you mentioned about Reza Rahadian as the lead actors in some of the adaptation of your works also, not only in Sementara Selamanya. But we're curious, are there any other actors that you want to work with other than Reza?
Well, Reza is brilliant. I can tell you that, and I love working with him. But I've also worked with other brilliant actors. I'm very lucky. I've worked with Adinia Wirasti. She's absolutely talented. And I've worked with Raihanun in Twifor Tiare. She's out of this world, man. I think she's a national treasure, if you can say that. And then I have this little wish list that to work with other brilliant actors. In my list, it's Marsha Timothy, Chacha, and also Marisa Anita. I adore both of them. Both of them are brilliant, independent, and then confident, and then they always brought their A game in every project that they did. So I'm thrilled for the opportunity to work with them someday, hopefully.
Yeah, so Marisa Anita is actually our colleagues here at C Today, and we adore her too.
Right.
Please say hi. Please say hi.
Not just say hi. Next, you should come here directly. To C Today studio.
I will.
Okay, let's talk still about your book. You just released your new book, Heartbreak Model, last April. So tell us about it. How long was the writing process?
4 years, man.
Wow.
4 years?
I mean, it took shorter for me to write a script because for me it's more simpler. It's much simpler. So it took me 3.5 years to write Critical 11. It took me 3 years to write Anthology of Feelings. And then it took 4 years to write Heartbreak Motel. So I started writing Heartbreak Motel in actually 2018. And then the story revolves around the life of an actress. And then she's this brilliant, talented actress in Indonesia who always put the extra length into diving into the characters that she's acting. And then the complication comes when it comes to the end of the shooting. She needs some kind of process to get out of the character, a process that maybe not all of us understand. And then that's when she secluded herself into this place that she lovingly called Heartbreak Motel. And then the idea behind the story actually came from my experience being involved in movies adapted from my books. I mean, I've witnessed how Reza worked. I've witnessed how Asti worked, how how Raihanun worked. And then I also talked to Chacha Marsha Timothy. I'm close with her. I also talked to Hannah Al Rashid, and then all the kind of transformation that they did, the research that they did to brought us such brilliant performance on screen. And acting, I used to think that acting is just pretending. You pretend to be sad, you pretend to be happy, you pretend to be angry, but it's a lot deeper than that, and it gets more nuance for that. So I started talking to Reza for hours about acting, to Hanun too, to Asti too, and then this book came out. Heartbreak Motel was the result of those experience, and then also in this book I talk a lot about self-acceptance too, because as a famous actor or actress, you live in the spotlight, and then you have this persona that you have to show to public, but you also have your own personality that you have to stick to, and then there's always a conflict between what kind of person that I am on screen and what kind of person that I am behind the spotlight. So that's the kind of thing that I talked about in Heartbreak Motel, and I hope people can learn something from it.
All right, but we want to know, what challenges have you encountered during the writing process? Because it did take 4 years for this novel to be finished.
It did. Well, the first thing, I knew nothing about acting, so that's one. I mean, in my previous books, I mean, the characters are my own profession, bankers, right?
Yeah.
And then also a writer in the architecture of love, which is what I do. So I know what they are. I know how they think. I know how they perceive the world, But I don't know what's inside the mind of an actor.
Yeah.
I'm blind. So it took me a long time to do research. I also took acting class. I took acting class from Natalie Portman and Helen Mirren from Masterclass. And I learned from them. And then I learned that this is such a new thing and then I find it so exciting, and then to share this to the world, and that's why I wrote Heartbreak Motel.
I see.
Right. Interesting. So Ika, you've mentioned that you write like a kind of everyday story, but if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, from my several of my wife's books, I see that the story is about love, that your everyday story, and then from a women's perspective. So could you please share with us maybe what kind of message actually that you want to convey from all of your novels?
The one big message is that a woman is a complicated being. I know that I am. I mean, we want a lot of things, but we also have limitation. I mean, we want to be independent, but we also need somebody. We want to love, but we also want to be detached sometimes. So this kind of complication that encompass a woman is the thing that I try to show in my stories. And I also try to talk a lot about how important it is to be an independent woman, someone who can distinguish themselves, someone who can believe in themselves, and then believe in their conviction. So that's my kind of trope, if you can say that. So yeah.
All right.
Oh, it's brilliant. Women Compass.
Yes.
I'm learning now from you, Ika.
Ika, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking your time out to share your story with us. We wish you big success and hope your latest book, Heartbreak Motel, that just came out in April, will be a bestseller. And we don't mind if you come out with an adaptation of the novel, adaptation movie, right?
Yes,
yeah. It's already a mega bestseller now, as we speak. So thank God for that. And actually, after this interview, I'm entering a meeting with a producer about it.
Yes.
So, you heard that here first,
Yeah, well, hopefully you can get Marisa Anita to be the lead actress.
Probably.
Yes, and we also don't mind if you come here directly and tell more stories, because I believe we still have a lot of questions for you, Ika. So thank you very much for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Stay safe and healthy. All right, so City Stories will continue after the break with more information. So please don't go anywhere, just stay here with us.